Hello, one and all, and welcome to Discography Drama. Mason,
This series is basically about just us kind of explaining all of the studio albums and the content of an artist. Like, for example, we just kind of binge through every studio album, see how they've evolved all throughout the years, and just kind of discuss about why they changed, what's the quality, etc. And today we'll be looking at the Red Hot Chili Peppers. The band has been around since the 80s, apparently. You know, which is weird, mainly because it feels as though they've been around since the 90s, you know, but they've been around since the 80s.
And you can already see Mason's ability to ramble on things that don't matter. So my name is Kyle. I am about 9 on the retard scale, and
I'm 9.5.
I really like Bloodborne. Mason?
I'm Mason. I'm the one who had the idea for the show itself. I'm very awkward at times, you know, so you can kind of see me mumble a little bit, and I apologize
for
that.
He's the awkward one.
Yeah. But you're basically listening to a guy who legitimately made, 3 whole pages of nothing but notes about melancholy and the infinite sadness.
Yeah, so you can already tell he's an edgy fuck.
If that's not nerdy, I don't know what is, so...
He's already an edgy cunt, so...
Yeah.
Let's talk about... We're not talking about whatever Incubus, bitch, Smashing Pumpkins. We're talking about a good band today. We're talking about the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And we're starting with their first album, which is self-titled.
Yes.
Now, this makes sense compared to, every other self-titled album that people do. Not pointing any fingers here, because I wouldn't want to offend Pink Floyd like that, but it's
Did Pink Floyd even have self-titled album? I don't think so.
Sorry. It's not nice to point fingers at Led Zeppelin like that, but you don't title the name of your band your first 3 or 4 albums.
Well, I think you should do it for your first album. It's mainly because when you're doing your first album, you want to sort of introduce just the sort of the concept and the flow of your music, and for example, Godsmack, you know, their first album was self-titled, or what we're talking about today, the Hot Chili Peppers, you know, and it's kind of just them introducing themselves to the general public.
Yeah, it makes more sense than what Led Zeppelin did, even though Led Zeppelin's a better band than Chili Peppers, in my opinion. At least the Chili Peppers know how to name shit. They don't name their first 5 albums the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and do random names, and then name their final album the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Weezer.
Yeah, exactly like Weezer. So let's already get into it. So the first song that these boys have ever made is "True Men Do Not Kill the Coyotes."
It's actually a pretty good debut song. It has that growly vocal voice, and it's all high and stuff, you know. Dig dirt, blah blah blah, you know.
But the lead singer still has that wobble. I want to die. They still have that fluctuation in their voice where they're through the Hollywood Hills.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is a very vital point in funk rock and funk metal and just funk music in general.
They think they were going to be known for their
vocals
rap,
are very bouncy,
and they're not. Okay. To be fair, to be completely honest, it's not a bad album. It's just
okay.
It's not their worst.
It's
memorable. It's a mid-tier album. It's all right.
If you see the music video for "True Men Don't Kill Coyotes," it is one hell of a time capsule.
True men don't.
The production is so dated on this album.
They've been around since the 80s.
1984.
They sound like a 90s band, but they're not.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I first learned this, I was super surprised. Whoa, 80s? Whoa, wow.
Now let's move on to their second song, "Baby Appeal." Now I make a lot of jokes about "Baby Appeal" because every song that they made in their first 3 albums is "Baby Appeal."
Now we're not going to talk about every single track, but we're just going to kind of talk about tracks that sort of appeal to us the most.
And ones that are bad. We've listened to every song on every album. Some of them were really great. Some of them were a blast, like listening to all of Stadium Arcadium.
Yes.
Some of them were a little painful. Like,
well, I wouldn't say painful, but more of like, watered down, shushed up, washed up. But let's not talk about right now.
Let's not talk about the certain album with the pill and the fly. We're not
Baby Appeal. So
that's every song. That is every song in their first 3 albums.
Yeah, because I'm not really sure like what the difference even is, but at least when it comes to the first 3 albums.
Baby Appeal.
That song is literally about them promoting their first album. Yeah, I'm not even joking.
It's like a commercial. Now, I want to talk about a song that Mason doesn't like much, and I don't like either. Give Daddy a kiss, girl.
Like,
oh, Dad.
I'm just surprised. I'm just surprised that it's not like a running gag or something. At least when it comes to the band themselves, because what I would like to see is just them reacting to their old shit and be like, "Oh, yuck." Boy.
It sounds like one of them sitcoms, like, "Aw, Dad."
Insert laugh track here.
Yes.
Edit that in.
We won't edit that in. That's the sad part. That's the sad part. Okay.
Because we're lazy.
Let's move on to what was another song we can talk about on. We have a paper here. We have notes, ladies and gentlemen.
That's when you know when we're smart, even though we aren't. Out in L.A.
Yeah, Out in L.A. was good.
It's one of those tracks that kind of feels as though you're like looking at all the positives of Los Angeles, and the Los Angeles is kind of messy.
It's awful. You know, Hotel California taught us that the music industry is garbo.
Like, what's an industry that doesn't suck?
The glue industry. I don't know.
The glue industry.
Do you think there's a glue industry?
Yeah, probably. There's an industry for almost everything.
Do you think it sucks?
I mean, it stinks.
that wasn't even scripted. That was just raw Mason. Okay, speaking
comedy gold, I know.
Speaking of raw and sex jokes up the wazoo, let's move on to Freaky Styley.
Yeah, okay, so if you don't know, if you're too young like us, Freaky Styley was apparently a real thing that people used to say back in the 80s to describe something that's very cool or hip.
It sounds like a shit trend dance, like, do the Freaky Styley.
Yeah, like, man, it's very lit, kind of like how we say that today.
Like something that you would do at a children's 3rd grade ball.
That's like calling your album Bruh moment.
Mason, please stop. Okay, we're gonna move to the songs.
I think there may already be an album that's like titled that. Like
that would be awful.
Yeah.
So let's do Jungle Man. Jungle Man, it sounds like Baby Appeal, and it is it's okay. I mean, it's not as good as True Men Don't Kill Coyotes, but you know, no shade thrown. Hollywood Africa, that's a song. That it's one of the good songs on the album.
And
one of the few.
And there are some moments in Freaky Styley. Like, yeah, the production is better, mainly because they actually know how to, like, sort of mix it right and get all the production stuff right this time, but still, it feels a lot more like they're trying to be funny, but they're just failing and falling flat on their ass.
Yeah, like our first attempt at this podcast.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, we don't have really a script. We have notes that are like, because we have the attention spans of goldfish with Alzheimer's. So we have a little list. It's very organized. It's very neat. It's very clean. We know what everything is. You know, it's definitely not just a pile of shit.
And another thing that I want to talk about in Freaky Styley is Yertle the Turtle. Apparently, they made like a song adaptation of the children's book. Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, actually.
He ain't a real doctor. It disappoints me, just like this album.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's a low-tier album. It's one of the only ones that they have that's low-tier, but it is. It's not garbage, but it's not great.
For Red Hot Chili Pepper standards, it is.
Let's move on to the ultimate Mofo party plan. Yay.
You mean the Uplift Mofo party plan?
No one cares. Okay, so
nobody cares about their first 3 albums for a good reason. I understand.
You know, the only person that's ever gonna watch this is probably a fan of their first 3 albums and nothing else. They got so bad after the third album.
Who actually thinks that? If you think that, comment down below.
Tell
curious.
us. Please debate us in the ring. We will have you on the show. Tell us.
Yeah, I'm curious. If you like their first 3 albums, comment.
We will have you in an episode. So, let's talk about Dirty Mofo Uplift Party Plan of Death and Destruction. Honestly, the title makes no goddamn sense, but
they're trying to be cool, like usual in the 80s.
It's better. It is an evolution from Freaky Styley.
Because it feels as though in these tracks in Mofo Party Plan, they feel like as though they have real chemistry with each other. Like they're getting used to it. Like they're starting to get used to making music and stuff, and getting the production right, and mixing and stuff like that. You know, they sound like a real band a little bit.
Yeah, that's about it. The lead singer stopped doing this, like, through the Hollywood hills.
I think the reason why the first 3 albums are so forgotten is mainly because they weren't experimenting enough. And that's what any band should do.
They had a style that they wanted to go for, and it wasn't working.
Yeah, that's what a band should do. They should try to experiment, and if it was critically received, then they can, like, I don't know, keep doing it for maybe another album, and then they can experiment with another genre.
But it did have some good songs, like Me and My Friends, which it was pretty good. And can't pronounce that. Mason, help.
Help me. No Chump Love Sucker.
Well,
what does that even sound like?
Suck my kiss.
No Chump Love Sucker. That sounds like a weird candy brand. I don't know why.
It's the candy at Halloween.
It's just the first thing that popped up in my head. Okay?
It's like a gummy chair. It's that one gag from Gravity Falls where it's like the candy in Halloween that no one eats. It's that.
Yeah. That actually sounds like a really, like, it's like something that you would, like, find in a commercial. No Chump Love Sucker, now for 99 cents.
99 cents. I wouldn't like take money to get whatever that is. So, Mofo Party Plan, it's like the last 3 albums. They didn't really evolve until this next album,
which is 1989's Mother's Milk,
which is their best 80s album because it is technically kind of early 90s.
It's their best 80s album, you know?
I just said that.
Sorry.
Shut the heck your mouth. Okay, so
I am so goddamn stupid sometimes.
Oh, it's fine. Let's move on to Mommy's Milk.
Higher Ground. Everybody knows about this one. So, I have a feeling that Higher Ground has to be like their first mainstream song, even though it's a cover song that was originally by Stevie Wonder. And, I'm just gonna say it now, this cover song is better than the original. Like, the original song is good too, but it feels like Higher Ground, the Chili Peppers version, feels a lot more floaty, if that makes sense. Like, the vocals seem to kind of, like, for example, people, I keep on learning, you know? Feels a lot more floaty, if that makes sense.
I don't really want to talk about a cover that they did. Let's move on to an actual song, like Stone Cold Bush.
What do you think about this song, Kyle?
It's they're starting to find themselves.
Yes, like the difference between the first 3 albums and Mother's Milk is that it feels a lot more.
They're experimenting.
Like they're still pretty funky. Like I basically want to do nothing but dance whenever I'm listening to this.
Monkey.
Yeah, exactly, and it's a lot more melodic instead of just Anthony rapping over and over and over again. You know?
We're not fans of rap.
I mean, yeah, they're
We're
like self-aware with the track. You always sound the same from the first album, which we forgot to mention.
It's kind of making fun of themselves because like a lot of the criticism they got is that they sing similar.
Yeah, but just because you're self-aware about something doesn't really mean that it's good. You know, like you know how like most modern comedy movies try to like say, "Oh, we're self-aware that we're shitty." That means it's good. No, it's not. Okay? It's just kind of spilling something out there.
You'll start to see that Mason can't stop saying okay and for example. It's going to be a running theme, and I think I want it on a t-shirt. Let's move on from Mother's Milk, because there's not There's not especially a lot to say
But
about it.
there is one track which I think is just one more track that I want to talk about. Nobody Weird Like Me. The intro is just so goddamn good. The bass line. Like, holy shit. It has to be, like, one of the best songs.
Flea is a madman.
Yeah, like, this has to be one of his best performances. Like, seriously, though, the bass is, like, the best part of the song.
It is really good.
Like, you know that you're a great instrumentalist when you're playing an instrument that's a lot more memorable than the actual vocals. You know, I like when a band does that, when all of the band members have like the same respect and just overall exposure as the lead singer. Because in most bands, it's like, oh, we only like the lead singer and that's it. You know.
Now, I want to talk about Mother's Milk. Sorry, I have a stutter.
Me too.
Why do we start a podcast when we're two socially inept assholes?
I know, it's ironic. Whatever.
Okay, let's move on to the cover art, because the cover art for Mommy's Milk is just tits. It's boobs.
It was very controversial back when it came out. Of course.
When we were listening to all of it, I was at the pool, and my mom saw me, and she's like, "Stop looking at tits."
Yeah, I know.
And I'm like, it's not porn this time, Mom. It's music.
This is back in the day when they were still pretty horny. You know?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, I get it, guys. You get pussy like every 5 seconds. Okay, we get it. Shut up now, okay, please? Alright.
They were very sex focused. And you'll see that in their next album's cover, Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
This album blew up.
It's in the title.
I mean, like, yeah, sex is in the title,
See,
so what?
I know the transitions, Mason. I can do this.
1991's Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
It was when the band started getting really weird tattoos and showing them off.
And at least in the booklet. I actually really like the artwork for Blood Sugar because it kind of has that psychedelic symmetry to it, you know, with the weird tattoo tones.
I forgot you're a Tool-Tard symmetry spiral. Ride the spiral.
I think people should talk about more of like, instead of just the music, they should also talk about like what's the booklet, what's like the artwork, what's just extra stuff like that. Sort of sprinkle it throughout the album review, you know.
All right, so what do we have to talk about with Blood Sugar?
A lot for this one, because this was literally like the one that got them into the mainstream. Like, Mother's Milk was kind of like just their first step into becoming mainstream, and Mother's Milk was only the first step into the mainstream, right? Because Higher Ground was pretty popular, I guess.
Yeah, Mother's Milk was like their first step into actually like getting in the radio. And what better way to get into the radio than references to sex and violence with their Blood Sugar Sex Magic?
You know, typical rock stuff, you know?
Yeah, you know how much references to sex and violence you see on mainstream these days.
But the thing about Blood Sugar is that this is a lot more diverse than Mother's Milk. This is actually a lot more genres. Like, for example, there's some acoustic songs, like "Breaking the Girl" or "I Could Have Lied." Like songs like that kind of let you soak in all of the very psychedelic songs on this record, especially "Breaking the Girl," because like they were kind of experimenting on how they would want to evolve, you know. Like they can't just do funk rock all the time. Like they have to like take some breaks. They were learning
how to make their better songs, because their funk rock ended up not being what they were known for. They were known for songs like "Snow" or "Danny California."
Well, later in the line, yeah.
Later in their line, but right now, their funk rock songs were still front and center, but they had more variety. They were experimenting, and because of it, they got some mainstream attention, and they started to take off.
But They're supposed to complete the portrait though, like full on. Hey, we're gonna do a pop record for no reason, but it's more of like a hybrid between them wanting to do something new, but also kind of clinging towards all of the funky stuff. Like, there's still like a lot of like raunchy shit on this album. Like, Sir Psycho Sexy is legitimately
Suck my kiss.
is legitimately like the biggest victim on this record.
I don't want to say the D word because like one of my family members might be watching, but suck my kiss. I will get into suck my kiss later.
So yeah, they were still kind of horny, but eventually, 1 hot minute and later they would get they would tone it down with a few slips in the crack. You know,
slips in the crack.
Slips in the crack cocaine. Yes.
No, it's. Oh my god. Okay.
I don't care.
Let's continue.
Yeah, so, and then there's songs like Under the Bridge, which is basically one of the most popular and one of the most well-known songs ever. Because it's extremely accessible, but it also kind of has that, like, high voice, very going to the flow vocal range. But, like, near the end of the song, you still kind of hear that, that very, like, you know, like in the back chorus, like, da-da-da-da-da, that's where I drew. Yeah, you know that, right? They kind of did that in their older stuff, right? Maybe, kind of.
Yeah. Their instrumentals took a bit of the back burner.
Like, it's one of those songs where it's like, oh, it sounds happy, but it's actually not. Because I think it's
actually dark. I'm 15 and this is deep.
Like, isn't it about heroin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I drew some blood. Wait, no, I think it's about that one time where Anthony Kiedis and some of his friends actually, like, they were in a very seedy part of the town, and they would usually, like, hang out in this bridge in one of the cities so they could, like, do, like, drugs and stuff, you know? Like, typical, like, early 20s stuff, early 20s rock stars would usually do, you know? And the next song that I want to talk about is one that I think is very, very underrated, and nobody talks about, is the title track, Blood Sugar Sex Magik. And
it sounds good. It sounds like something that would be on the radio, but it never was, because sex.
Yeah, like, even though...
Blood magic, sex magic.
Blood sugar baby, sex magic. I really love the chorus, yeah. And it's not in your face, like, full on, oh wow, I love sex, but it's more of like a...
Blood magic.
Yeah, it kind of more of like a nudge kind of song, you know? Instead of just full on, oh yeah, I want you to suck me, yeah, you know?
Suck my kiss.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I know that they were trying to throw, like, the listener off with Suck My Kiss instead of sucking lollipops. I mean, they're delicious. Yeah, they're delicious. Especially the cherry-flavored ones.
Meat rockets.
Yeah. And, what else do we have here? I Could Have Lied. And I really love the acoustic guitar in this. And it's just one of those few emotional songs on here. And I think that what kind of sort of made the tradition of having a lot of emotional songs that feel a lot more personal and mature, rather than just going, like, yeah, like, Sir Psycho Sexy is personal, but it's more about the various sexual interactions that the band has gone through over the past few years at the time that this band was sort of trying to mature, I guess.
Again, still sex crazy, haven't gotten married yet.
Yeah, I know. Back when they had, like, 30 girlfriends or something, I'm not sure. And, yeah, so basically, Blood Sugar Sex Magik. It's a really good record, okay? I really like it, but it's not as good as something like Stadium Arcadium or By the Way. I would probably say that's, like, my third favorite album.
This is high tier. This is good.
Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah. And so, after that, next up we have 1995's 1 Hot Minute.
1 Hot Minute has a good title, you know, Red Hot Chili Peppers hot, they're hot. Chili. Okay, so they have good songs. It's not as good as Blood Sugar Sex Magik, but it's still memorable. It's still nice. It's got good songs, and I'm repeating myself.
Yeah, I know. So we should try to, like...
How about we get into them songs? Let's see what we got here on the list.
The cover art looks like something from a children's book.
Let's talk about P for a minute.
This is actually the only song that Flea sung in, and it's basically just him kind of singing a little tune like I'm a little pea, you know. But then but then he just kind of sort of shits on people who are like homophobic or something. That was kind of weird. Like it's just like 1 minute long, kind of a rant, but not really, you know. Like maybe a little bit. I think this has to do with one of the music videos that they released of Breaking the Girl. Wait, no, I think it was, what was the music video where Anthony and one of the members kissed on camera? Because this was back when everybody was homophobic.
Yeah.
It was way too hot for America back then.
It's okay to be gay nowadays.
Yes.
Back then, woo-wee.
Yes.
Not even gay marriage. Was
Very
allowed.
fitting since it's Pride Month right now. So yeah.
It is.
Shout out to all those LGBT out there.
Shout out to all of our gay buttos.
Yeah. So yeah, in one of the music videos they kissed and people got kind of uncomfortable with that, and they didn't really air it on MTV that much. But it's still a pretty good music video. It's just them kind of dancing around the desert. But
If
anyway,
you're gay, comment below how awful we are.
yeah, exactly. 'Cause we're straight and all straight people are bad. So let's get back to One Hot Minute. So the P song is just Flea just kind of maybe venting, I guess, but in a very passive aggressive way. The next song that I want to talk about is Warped, the opening track.
It's good.
It's extremely like aggressive, and
It is, but it works.
And I think the main difference between their last record and this one is that One Hot Minute kind of feels like a lot more radio friendly than Blood Sugar Sex Magic. Like there are some sexual references, I guess.
They've got to
in this album.
cave into the mainstream to get on the radio.
Yeah, and there aren't that many sexual references, but if they do make a sexual reference in One Hot Minute, they do it in a very subtle way, you know? Because that's how sexual references should work, is that if it's subtle, then it's good in my opinion.
Yeah, don't do the darling and the Franks.
Don't do the
kinda route.
stupid, like, obvious, like, oh, look how big it is, you know? Like, make it subtle, guys.
Magnum Dom.
That's how you make sex jokes. That's how you make sex jokes funny, instead of making it very lazy and awful. And what else is here? So yeah, One Hot Minute. It's an alright record. Back when this first came out, it had a lot of mixed reviews for some reason. A lot of people thought it was kind of sort of trying to imitate towards the people who liked the quieter songs
Because it was.
in Blood Sugar Sex Magic. Like,
But
there's some songs like My Friends that kind of has that that sitting in the bathtub thinking about why you're alone in there kind of mood, you know?
They were also evolving, though. They were getting quieter. And they were getting ready for their next album that we will talk about in a minute.
Yeah, so I'm just looking through this to see if there's any more songs that we can put on here. But, one last thing. I just want to tell you that this little piece of trivia that I found. The guy who made the concept art, Cabron, he made the artwork for this album, and he also made the artwork for Michael Jackson's Dangerous, and he made artwork for a bunch of other bands as well that we didn't really list out for some reason. So there's that. I thought that was pretty cool. Michael Jackson has to be one of the few pop artists I like.
Okay, you're rambling again.
Yeah.
Let's move on to their first God tier, bona fide, amazing albums.
1999's Californication.
Californication.
Yeah.
Everybody's heard it. Everybody's heard it. All the white moms have danced to it. Like, this is a poppy song right
yeah,
here.
it's pop. Like you know those teachers that act like preppy students inside of them. Like, hey, I want to listen to something like pop rock or something. You know.
Miss Price.
If you don't know, it's just one of the teachers. You know.
You don't have to say that.
Then why did you say her name?
Shut the heck your mouth.
So there are some like really good songs, even though it's one of their first records. That doesn't really have that many funk vibes to it. Like it kind of has that subtle funk vibe, but it's not as strong. in this record as other ones, but it's still really good.
It's got some funk undertones, but it's got the really calm songs, and they got Californication, which is the white mom song of this generation. It's so good.
Californication, All Around the World, Scar Tissue. If I had a theme song, Scar Tissue would be my theme song. Alright?
Because it's really edgy?
Because it just feels like me. Because I don't act edgy. But I listen to shit like Korn and Deftones and Tool. It's just edgy.
All of the
shit
garbage
like
that
yeah.
I would be bashed for.
Yeah,
hating.
I think Scar Tissue is the one about heroin, right? Scar Tissue, trying to get over addiction. I think this song is really about a person trying to just sort of look back on how terrible the addiction was and why they even wanted to take heroin in the first place or any type of drug. You know, it's basically the aftermath of an addiction.
Skill.
Yeah. So it's just a person thinking, wow, I got through my addiction. What next? You know, what happens after an addiction? Just life just sort of goes on.
Alright, we're not here to get all philosophical. Let's move on to the next song.
Californication, title track. Everybody knows about it. It's basically about all the shitty things about California. And can I talk about...
Hollywood sells Californication.
Can we talk about the music video? Because I've seen...
It is good.
I've seen some clips.
It's video gamey, and I love video games.
This came out in 1999, right? Californication.
Video games are like a big part of my life. And
if you see the music video, it kind of feels like a really like
Tony Hawk Skater Pro.
Yeah, it kind of feels like one of those auto runner games. You know, like for example, you get to like in the music video you see them like player select with all the band members and stuff, and it just felt like a very fun but also lyrically kind of a really like
serious.
Yeah, it's serious lyrically, but in the music video, it just has a lot of like goofy shit that I love from the band. The band has always been weird, and I'd like them to stay it that way.
And Californication, I think, was the song that finally got them to realize that the type of song where they're quieter and they do good vocals, good guitar is really the way to go.
Yeah, melody is the way to go.
They did it with Danny California. They did it with Snow. Once we move on to Stadium Arcadium, I will gush about how they did this with almost every song.
What else is on here? There's some songs like Other Side. I love the music video for Other Side too. I saw that music video. And it's just so, like, it's just one of those Pepper songs where it feels melancholic but also dark at the same time. Californication is a lot darker than their other songs. A lot darker than their other albums, I meant. I'm sorry, a little bit. And I think this song is about the death of one of Anthony's friends, or something. I'm not sure, but the music video kind of reminds me of a person in a coma or something, because like it kind of has that Tim Burton feel to it. Like everything feels like as though everything is like made out of paper or cardboard or something. Like, for example, that scene where, like, the guy is walking down the hallway and he sees, like, the painting with the mouth on it. And so the painting starts, like, attacking him, you know, and he gets the mouth off the painting and he flies away. And his wings, like, it's weird, it's creepy, it's dark, and I love it.
It's really Chili Peppers.
Yes, exactly. Oh, and by the way, white-haired Anthony, great.
Oh, and by the way...
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow, 10 out of 10 transition there, buddy. Alright, 2002's By the Way.
I'm just nailing it with these transitions.
I know, right? So, By the Way. This one, you know what? You talk about this one, because I'm not really sure what the difference really is between By the Way and Californication.
Mason really likes By the Way.
Yes, it's... I don't even, like, know which album, I like more, By the Way or Stadium Arcadium.
Now, this album has a special place in my heart, because me and my brother, when my parents weren't exactly getting along, they were thinking about divorce, me and my brother would go into the cave while they were fighting, and we'd listen, because this album just came out, we'd put it on our little record player, because we were both banned from our phones and stuff, and we'd play Enter the Gungeon on the Xbox, and... It really resonates with me, like songs like Can't Stop, stuff like that, just, it hits home. It hits home for me.
Can't Stop is one of my favorite Pepper songs of all time, I swear.
It is great. The band really took a good direction in this album. They still kept some of their funk influences from their earlier albums, and they mixed it with even better songs. Some of the songs kind of bleed into others, but it's still a great time, and it's almost God tier. I would not mind if they made another album just like this one.
And I think, what do you think is the main difference between Californication, By the Way? Is it just like them sort of experimenting?
By the Way has more good songs, but Californication had the heavy hitters, like the 2 or 3 songs that every white mom
like everybody knows.
Name someone who hasn't listened to Californication.
Exactly, fucking exactly. And one song that I like to talk about that nobody really knows for some reason is this a swear word? Can I say this? Cabron. For some reason, if you look on the iTunes...
It's a cuck. It's a cuck in Spanish, I think.
Yeah, so it's basically censored on iTunes. And it kind of has that, like, Mexican Spanish feel to it. Because he's, like, singing, like, Cabron, Cabron.
It's basically it's saying, like, hey, I'm a cuck.
Yeah,
it's the cuck song.
It's very different. Like when I first heard this song, I was like, wow, this sounds like a complete 180 from their other tracks on this album.
But it's still good. I'd listen to it.
Yeah, that's what I like about the Red Hot
It was
Chili Peppers.
it was like the one song that Tucker made Spanish class. We have a friend named Tucker, and he makes awful music. We'll review him one day.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Estamos.
Yeah. And I think the thing about the Red Hot Chili Peppers is that instead of trying to make different sounding albums, they try to make different sounding songs within those different sounding albums.
They keep to a theme, but they experiment. They branch out.
That's what everybody should do. Experiment, see what sticks, see what works with people. Not financially. Sales don't matter when it comes to the quality of music. Say that to Nickelback. Like one of Nickelback's albums for some reason is
Look at this photograph.
yeah. That is a fucking diamond certified album. That has nothing to do with the quality of the music. And it sold like hotcakes. But let's get back to By the Way.
Hey, look, Mason's staying on track for once.
Yeah, I know. There's songs like the Cypher song, which sounds very uplifting. There's By the Way, which is their...
By the Way is good.
Opening track.
It's not as much of a heavy hitter as Californication was.
By the way, I try to say I'd be there.
I don't like By the Way as much
Waiting
as some of the other
for-
songs in this album.
And, it kind of sounds very techno-y as well. Like, when he's, saying, drop, green light, you know, like that. Like, it sounds very Daft Punkish, you know, in my opinion at least, and some of the vocals in that track. What else is here? We have Throw Away Your TV, or Throw Away Your Television. This song is very underrated, too. Because, do you think it's one of those cliche, television is bad for you songs, or do you think it's a lot more than that?
No, everyone had the TV is bad for you song in the
Or the
late
drug
90s.
is bad for you song. Metallica made a lot of, like, anti-drug songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, bands did that all the time. They still do. Which is good. It's not a bad thing.
It's because bands were very prone to drugs.
Yeah. Don't do drugs, okay? Alright, just don't do it.
What do you think ruined Pink Floyd?
Rip in peace, Sid Barrett. He did not deserve all of that hate that he got after taking a lot of LSD. What else? Can't Stop. We already talked about that. Venice Queen. Last track I want to talk about.
I don't like Venice Queen as much.
Venice Queen.
It's good. It's a good ending.
It's a good closing track, I agree, because it feels so atmospheric, at least when compared to, like, the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
It's too slow for a Chili Peppers song, but I do enjoy it.
It kind of feels like one of those songs that have, like, certain parts and certain segments. Like, for example, like, in the beginning of the song, it's, like, very moody, atmospheric, and then it kind of gets to that usual soft Red Hot Chili Peppers feeling, and then it kind of gets to more of the funky parts, you know, and then it goes back to the calm parts, you know, and that's what I like about the track. Venice Queen, it's very underrated. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it.
Which makes By the Way one of the one of the best Chili Peppers albums, but it doesn't hold a candle. Doesn't hold a candle.
Get ready,
to
guys.
our next, the heaviest hitter, the golden platinum god that we are about to witness.
Get ready.
Stadium Arcadium. Jesus fucking Christ. It's... How do you do it?
Okay, Kyle. Since I've been talking a lot throughout this episode, I'll just let you.
How do you do it?
I'll just let you take the spotlight.
Thank you, Mason. How do you do 24, 28 songs and have them all be bangers? We need to take notes from our boys, the Chili Peppers, because god fucking damn it. I don't even have to look at the paper, Mason. Slow Cheetah, Snow, Heyo, Danny California. They're all so good. They're so memorable. Snow is the one song that everybody's listened to, but no one knows the name, so they put Hey Yo in the title as a subtitle so that people knew what the fuck they were talking about. Danny California is widely regarded as one of the best Chili Pepper songs just ever. And Slow Cheetah is just a banger. They're all bangers. We can't say that like, oh, this song wasn't as good, this song wasn't as good as the others. They're all so good. There's no bad song on Stadium Arcadium. I would beg to say it's one of the best albums ever made by an artist. It's so good.
How many times have you listened to it?
I've listened to Stadium Arcadium about 26 times.
Oh my god.
And my dad owned about 5 Chili Peppers albums, and one of them was Stadium Arcadium, and we just couldn't get enough.
You really love this album, huh?
Snow was like the first thing that I remember when I was a kid is listening to Snow in the truck with my dad.
And with all of those songs, like this is like a 48, like 2-disc album. It was originally gonna have 3 discs, but they had to cut it up for some reason.
It's so long and so good. It's like Shine On You Crazy Diamond, where you don't know how something so long can be so consistently good, but it just ends up pulling it off. It's crazy. We can ramble on about Stadium Arcadium. Let's do so. Let's talk about Snow. Oh my god, Snow. Snow is them compiling all of the good things from all of their slower songs into one swan song of just an amazing slow song for them, especially for the Chili Peppers. It just shows how they've evolved. Go listen to their first album in its entirety, and then listen to Snow, and you'll see how much they've just refined themselves into a force of just...
And I think this also has to be like their best album lyrically too. Remember, this is coming from the man who once yelled out "Party on your pussy."
Yes.
I know, right? God. And that's what I call growth.
I know, right? And they never stopped evolving. They never stopped getting good throughout this entire album. It never simmers down. It just keeps up. You could... Stadium Arcadium, in my opinion, is like at least top 10 in the best albums ever made by any artist.
And it also kind of showcases like the certain styles that they've had throughout their entire career. Like
there's some funk influences in Slow Cheetah, and there's some funk influences in Stadium Arcadium. But they still have their slow songs. They still have Danny California, which is still a little funky. They still have Snow, which is one of their heavy hitters. They have 5 heavy hitters in the first 12 tracks.
Like, think of them as making like a retrospective on their own like quality albums, and just kind of sort of making original content based on all of their albums combined.
Californication was a god tier album, literally based on like 3 songs that were all heavy hitters, and this album is just covered in them.
Yeah, I know, right?
You're hard pressed to find an album that just so consistently just never lets up. It's like Foo Fighters' Concrete and Gold. It's just so good. Honestly, Mason, what's your favorite song from the album? I asked you this earlier. You weren't able to tell me.
Christ, that's a really hard fucking question.
It's so hard because they're all good. I can't say that Danny California is better than Snow. I can't say...
Yeah.
Honestly, you have to have top... It's like asking what your favorite song is of all time. You have to have top 5s with this shit. That's how good this album is.
So, with them making a 2-disc album with 48 tracks, did you really expect them to just kind of get burnout after all of that?
And, unfortunately, they did. And they took their hiatuses.
So they basically took a hiatus for like 5 whole years.
And
then,
they should have. They deserved a god's
Yeah.
rest on Mount Olympus for the godly Stadium Arcadium.
Well, wow, guys, these guys sound pretty good. What's next? What happened? I'm With You happened. 2011.
And I wish I'm With You didn't happen, unfortunately. It's not...
You aren't with me.
I'm not with this album. It did not pull off. It was a letdown compared to Stadium Arcadium. It's not bad. It's better than the first album, in a way. It's definitely better than Freaky Styley, but it's not great. It's not...
Okay, so the lead single, what's it called again? The Adventures of Rain Dance Maggie?
Yeah.
How was that the lead single? Seriously, I listened to it and how is this the lead single? Because picture this, right? You're excited for the new album, right? Because Stadium Arcadium was so good that you want more from them. So they pump out this new single, right? They say, "Oh, I'm With You, coming soon." You listen to Rain Dance Maggie Adventures or whatever, and you're like, "What?
What is this?
What? How is this?" Because normally when a band releases a lead single...
Okay, Mason, I actually was able to react, because me and my dad have been Chili Peppers fans. I got to react when I got I'm With You. So, I see the cassette, and it's the pill with the fly, and then you open it up, it's got the cute little flyer, and then it has this... a
cassette tape?
No.
Oh.
The disc, sorry,
CD?
I stuttered. And then the inward box art has this hand, and I'm like, wow, this is a pretty cool. I mean, the artwork isn't as good as a lot of their others, and I mean, the pill with the fly is kind of eh. And I'm like, well, okay, Dad, let's turn it on. And me and Dad were so hyped.
If you look at the artwork, when they were asked what it meant, "Oh, don't worry, guys, it's up to your interpretation what it means," even though it's just, there you go. Have you seen this trend recently with modern albums coming from longtime artists of them having a white background?
Yeah.
Yeah, for example, there's this isn't a bad thing. I'm just telling them right now, but it's this weird trend that's going on.
With Eat the Elephant.
Eat the Elephant.
Eat the Elephant was good though.
What else? What other modern album has a white background and that's
the newer Foo Fighters one did. That wasn't Concrete and Gold. The one before that.
What was it?
I forgot.
Sonic Highways didn't have a white background.
All right, let's continue on.
But there are some good songs.
Let me continue with my story. So me and my dad were jittering. We're about to open Chili Peppers. Remember, we've been listening to Stadium Arcadium for 3 years and never getting bored of it. And we're like, oh my god, these are the same guys. This is gonna be amazing. And we pop it in, and I think the first song that we actually heard was I think it was Go Robot. No.
I actually kind of like that one.
The wrong album.
Oh yeah.
It was Look Around, and we were like, okay.
I actually kind of like Look Around.
We were like, okay, this is the mediocre track.
The lyrics are a bit repetitive, yeah, but at least it's catchy, you know.
We were like, okay, this is the mediocre track.
Mediocre track is the lead single.
No, we thought it was the mediocre track because it would be a mediocre track in Stadium Arcadium. So we're like, okay, let's move on to where's the single? And we listened to the single and we're like, oh, this is bad.
How is that the lead single? Because when a band releases a lead single, they kind of want to pick a song that kind of shows you the whole feeling of the entire album itself. And they chose The Adventures of Rain Dance Maggie. Why? Why not just have something like Look Around or Brendan's Death Song?
I honestly, Brendan's Death Song was good.
Yeah.
I don't want to dwell on the mediocreness of I'm With You. Let's move on to something better. they had a bit of a comeback. It wasn't
Like it was a small return to form, I guess, like a very small one.
It was like Blood Sugar Sex Magic, in a way. It was close.
But
It had funk elements.
yeah, because in I'm With You, there weren't any riffs. Like even the bass from Flea just felt kind of shushed up for some reason, which is very surprising.
I think we need to move on to The Getaway.
All right, The Getaway.
The first song I listened to in this one is Robot. Go Robot.
Go Robot has a lot of like
And it was
disco influenced. Like it kind of sounds like a very disco influenced song.
But it was good. It was still good.
Yeah, because like it's very like it had funk elements still because they were always a funk rock band. Because you know how most bands they kind of sort of just flat out just drop a genre and then just move on to the next one.
Yeah.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers don't do that, and they even from the very start they've always been a funk rock band.
Stadium Arcadium, we keep referencing it, still had a lot of funk rock, but it was refined funk rock.
At least The Getaway had an actually good lead single, Dark Necessities.
It did, and it was good. And me and my dad never ended up getting The Getaway.
But for some reason, even though it's a slight improvement from I'm With You, The Getaway just feels very, like, think of it this way. Think of I'm With You as being like a big cut alongside your arm, and then The Getaway just being a paper cut on your finger. That's how I would describe the latest two albums.
No. I would describe it like it's a big cut, and then I'm With You is a one stitch.
Or The Getaway is like half a burger, and then I'm With You is just a little slider, you know?
Yeah.
Like the half burger is slightly bigger, I guess, but the slider is kind of the same size, I guess. I don't know why, but like, I'm looking at the list right now, and I only like put down like 3 songs that appeal to me on this album, and that's it.
It's because it's not very appealing, but again, I don't want to dwell on these. You know what I think we should do? We review all of the albums sequentially. So
I swear, like, I think from Mother's Milk all the way to Stadium Arcadium was like their golden years.
it was golden. Let's talk about it in
like
order.
hit after hit.
So we have Red Hot Chili Peppers, Freaky Styley, Mofo, Party Plan.
We're ranking them now.
Those 3 are, I would say, mid-tier to low tier. Were good. They were good, not great. They were good. Then you get even higher tier with Mother's Milk and some of their other songs from that era. And then you have Californication, which is an even bigger step up that is combined with what is it called? One Hot Minute and By the Way, which really make a great trifecta. And then it's finished off with the most amazing album they've ever made, Stadium Arcadium. And from there it's kind of a letdown. I mean, how could you follow up Stadium Arcadium? It kind of feels
like I would compare the evolution of Red Hot Chili Peppers to basically just a regular human being. Like, for example, like the first 3 albums could be compared to like a little kid,
teenagers,
little kid that's like, oh yeah, I'm 12 years old and I get pussy all the time.
And then their 20s to
and then their 20s are
20s
like
to 40s are just
like,
golden years.
Yeah,
like,
their 20s to 40s are like stuff like Mother's Milk and Blood Sugar Sex Magic are like their 20s. And when they're still kind of sexual, but not really, I guess.
And then there's 30s to 40s is Stadium Arcadium, where they're
and
just
By the Way, and Californication.
in their great golden years, where they're just having a blast
and Red Hot
with their
Minute.
life. And then
and tackling a lot more mature subject matter, like in Californication.
And The Getaway, and
and then I'm With You and The Getaway just feels like elders.
not elders. That was their midlife crisis.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna get their elder tracks.
Like, it felt like a parody of themselves.
Because they are getting a new album very soon.
I think back in last year they announced that they were gonna make a new album, but for some reason they delayed it mainly because of some sort of fire that happened near their studio or inside of the studio. So, yeah, it's kind of delayed for now. We haven't had really any news.
But
for
it
the
will
album.
come out. I believe in the Chili Peppers.
They haven't released even like a single yet, but I'm sure it'll come out soon. Maybe next year. I'm planning. Maybe next year they'll.
So
give
in
us a new
general,
album.
the Chili Peppers are they're obscure for their first 3 albums. They're known for their golden years, and that we were a little let down from their final things. But I believe that the Chili Peppers are Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What some of the best
Like, I swear to God, every time I see like a funky Red Hot Chili Peppers song, all I want to do is just dance.
I know. They're the best singers and songwriters of the funk rock genre, and I think Mason here would agree. So this has been Discography Drama. My name is Kyle.
I'm Mason.
This is Mason. Please tell us if you want another video, because this was such a beta. We just wanted to do something fun. If anyone watches this, tell us in the comments. We're Mason isn't as open to suggestions, but I definitely am. Tell us what you want.
Like, guys, if you have a request, you can do that, but just be aware that we aren't going to really pick up your request unless we're either interested in it or we're just done. Like, we basically have like a whole list of artists that we want to do. So after we get done with that list, then you can kind of just drop down a suggestion below, see if we're interested. Maybe we can pick that up.
Tell us what we need to work on, because even if you're mean and vitriolic, every shred of criticism will help our channel evolve. We want to be good. We wouldn't be releasing a video if we wouldn't want to be heard. So, thank you to everyone. This has been Discography Drama, and we are signing out.
All right.
Bye.
We'll see you later, guys.